4 times. Good morning. Welcome to Community Voice. I'm your host, Keith Parris. I want to thank everybody.
He was in a good mood, man. Don't send him.
Hey, he got fed up quick.
You know what it was, Debo? You remember when the girls would be doing double dutch and they'd be kind of
get ready to jump
in and they laid it in, and I did that 4 times. You ready?
Kind of like the intro to
yeah.
Kind of like the intro. It was the 3rd of September. Not yet. Dun, dun,
Hey, but I done seen them girls start fighting, man, about that.
Yeah, like come on, jump in.
I ain't gonna keep turning you. You supposed to been in already.
Yeah. Double dutch.
Double dutch.
Yeah.
Did you do double dutch?
Yes, sir. I sure did.
You do it, Debo?
A little taste, not much.
I couldn't do it, man.
And I'm still good at it.
Too coordinated, man. I could do regular, but I couldn't do double dutch.
Yeah, at that timing, man, that you gotta have that perfect timing,
Yeah,
man.
What was your favorite? For me, I loved Higher and Higher, man.
Really?
Yeah, I loved that, man.
Yeah.
Because I learned how to jump sideways.
Yeah.
To get higher.
Yeah.
So it was always
yeah.
Or even the one where you go under.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You can't touch the rope though.
You can't touch the rope, yeah. But you know what? That's actually good exercise for your thighs and your calves. And
It may have been then, it ain't now.
Because you try now, you're gonna get tired easy. Woo! Yeah,
Be in the
Yeah.
ER.
The man should know his limitations.
Yeah, like with that shoulder, you know.
My late my late pastor, Dr. E.M. Kelly, used to say, you didn't stop partying because of your conversion. You stopped partying because of physicality.
Yeah. And that is true.
You know, you can't drop it like it's hot now because you ain't getting back up.
Or stay up as late.
Right.
As
You twerking, you gonna throw something out.
Yeah, this is for sure.
Yeah, that is true.
Well, anyway, man, everybody's weekend was good.
Oh, it was great, man.
Good, man. Good. How about
missed
yourself,
you,
man?
Missed you in church yesterday. You missed a great program, man.
You know what? I swear, I left church yesterday.
I thought he was a man of his word.
Listen, I left church yesterday, and I'm driving around, and I'm thinking, it was like, I said, it was something I got to do at 3, but I'm looking at my calendar, and I'm like, I don't have to play anywhere. Yep, I was in the car. It's something I got to do, but I can't remember what it is.
I would have came to church.
I swear, I was like, man, I thought I had a gig, but I'm looking at my gig calendar, and I'm like,
well, let me.
So how was it?
Let me shout out.
It was an anniversary, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, I hate
anniversary of Metropolitan Inspirational Choir.
Did you say it, Keith?
Man, I did. I'm gonna tell you, this has been one of, and I said one of the reasons why it's one of the better ones is that I'm not an active member of the choir. I'm not in leadership. I was president of the choir for about 6 years, and just the work that goes into anniversary and dealing with folks.
Mm-hmm.
So let me just get from top to bottom. It was, man, every now and then things happen. So we had, so let me shout out the MC, Reverend Victoria Nelson, did a great job. I know everything that goes into MCing / being a worship leader.
Yeah.
Let me shout out Katira. She did praise and worship. This young lady.
Buford?
Yes.
That's my I love her. Yeah. She actually moved out of state. Yeah, she moved out of state and came
I kept
back.
looking and said she looked familiar.
Yeah, Katira, yeah, she's a monster.
Man, so Katira. And then I always brag about Pastor Christopher Boston and Lamb of God and their hospitality. If you go to Lamb of God, man, they meeting you at your front door.
Yeah.
I mean, the folks are just so inviting. I had never heard their choir.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, man. Lamb of God yesterday.
Outstanding,
man. Outstanding. So shout out to Lamb of God, the choir. You know, choirs. Now, I've never been in a quartet, so I don't know the dynamics of a quartet, but I can tell you the dynamics of a choir. And sometimes working with the choirs like herding cats.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because you just got especially the more talented you are.
Yeah.
You know, the more temperamental people are. You know, I mean, just all of that. And so I didn't have to experience any of that. But the performance was just, and I use the word performance. I know everybody, you know, religious circles, performance, but no, man, you got a know your notes, sing your notes. It was incredible. So shout out to the choir, outstanding job. I think I want to say his name is Raymond Jones, young man from a proud alum of Jackson State and young guy. And I kind of pulled him off to the side after the program, and I said, you know what? You're a young man dealing with older Black adults.
Oh, so he was over the choir.
Yeah, he just replaced Elder Gerald Sappho.
Now, that's the problem with when you are a young musician and you're trying to implement things and you got older members that's used to the way things used to go, because they'll try to tell you, well, this is how we used to do things and this is what we did for that.
And I just think, and here again, the physicality. If you look at what young people are able to do in terms of movement, in terms of their vocal cords, you can get a whole lot, and you can still shape, because you pointed out something that is very difficult in adult education that adults know.
Yeah. Think. Yeah.
And so adults will say no.
Yeah.
Before they say yes. It came up in the Sunday school lesson yesterday about them rebuilding the temple after Babylonian exile, and how the younger people who come from Babylon, they'd had that experience, and it was older people who were the remnants that everybody talks about. Yeah. And what the remnants were able to do was, I'm talking about the leadership, they were able to enrich themselves because they were tax exempt. Everybody else was taxed up the wazoo. And so there's this whole scripture in Ezra. It says that their crowds, like the old people mourned in the crowd. The young people was so loud they could hear the celebration, but they never heard the descent. Yeah. And so, you can do more with younger folks. Rhonda's in Miami right now, and she was just talking about her worship experience at New Shiloh Baptist Church there under Pastor Jackson. He is third generation. And, all the things that you can do, just how you attract. So there's a reason why churches like Evolve is growing, or at one point New Birth, right? I mean, that young, and let's just go back in the day, Christian Faith. When you start off, because you're younger, man, you got the energy. Yeah. You just got a whole lot, maybe not as much money, but you certainly had the energy. And then, what happens? You look up one day. Yeah. And now you're old.
I remember Holy Redeemer on Atkinson, man, that we used to.
I used to go there and watch it.
Man, we used to go there Sunday nights for the Sunday night service.
Be there for Sunday night service. Play ball.
Yeah.
Run home, take a shower.
Take a shower, go to Sunday night service. Yeah.
So Get there. I used to say I was under watch care.
Yeah.
For Bishop Daniels for about 3 years. So thank you, Bishop Daniels.
And I get there for the 8 o'clock service. It started at 8 o'clock, and the choir be up singing, Lord, whether I'm right or wrong, every Sunday. And Bishop would be standing there doing the radio broadcast. We're coming to you live from Holy Redeemer Church of God in Christ on Atkinson, where what was the slogan? There's nothing too hard for God. The choir be up singing, and he's up there in front. And I remember going past the church and just hearing the singing and hearing the rejoicing. And that's what brought me in. But then though, you looking and saying like, hey, there's energy. There's young people, and of course, then when you're young, you're like, okay, there's girls here.
And I think we need to differentiate young. There are very few churches other than campus churches or campus adjacent churches where you see a lot of 20-somethings, right? Yeah. So I think Marcus Cosby down in Houston, his church just happens to be near Texas Southern and the University of Houston.
Yeah, so you got a lot of college students.
A lot of these college students. A buddy of mine ended up taking over a church in Nashville, and he was near Tennessee State in Fisk. So he attracted a lot of students, from that. So when we talk about that group is always been problematic. Not problematic. That group does what it does. It goes out, you begin to experiment, learn about life, relationships, all these things. A lot of times you're on your own, right? You're out your parents' house. So there's a lot that goes. So the people that you're really probably talking about are people who are like 30 plus.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, that means they've started families. They're a little bit more stable. By the time you get to 30, you're a little bit more stable. You're looking for a certain level of stability. And so then you will have this, and most churches are peer churches, right? I mean, the people there look like each other.
Yeah.
The demographics are usually the same.
Yeah.
You know, they're usually situated economically or educationally or age. So all these things go into play. So that choir was a result of creating something for young adults to do. I said this yesterday, man. I know I'm getting old because it seems like I have a story for everything. You know, that's when you know you're getting old. Wrote a song about it. Want to hear?
Here you go.
Here you go. But so let me shout out. The choir was outstanding yesterday,
That's
man.
nice,
It was just it's always about the music. Let me shout out Pastor Wilbur Baker Jr., who was the inspirational speaker
and
for
excellent musician.
Oh man, Wilbur
Excellent.
started with us.
Yeah, man, that cat is.
And it's like everybody started on drums.
Yeah.
And you know, went to keys.
Yeah.
You know, his mom plays.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, I've known Junior Baker before he was Junior Baker, because you know I'm part of go back to Metropolitan, basically, literally, kind of born in that church. So, so let me shout him out. Let me shout out the praise dancers. There's only 3 now, 4. Outstanding. It was just a great service. You know, normally it can bog down. Oh, and then your boy, he just wrecked it, man.
Who?
Ren.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Robert Owens,
Ren is a monster.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So to be able to hear some of these great voices, Carmen. Oh man, it was.
Carmen is
Carmen. So to be in that moment. So let me and the people who put that together, and I know how difficult it is. I know how much sleep you didn't get. I know how many arguments you have with folks. I know that you probably spent more time talking about what you're gonna wear than how you're gonna sing. That all goes along with the territory. But when you put it together, and it works, it really works. And then I, going through, because 40 years, and some of the musicians, I forgot that Steve Johnson played.
That's
for the choir. Joel
wait, was he in
Wade.
Town?
No,
I was going to say, because Steve is still out in Arizona.
Yeah, Joel Wade.
Yeah. That's
man. Steve,
that's my dude.
Reggie Royal. Young guy who's back now. I don't know if you know Jarrell Reed.
Of course I know Jarrell.
Bill Raspberry. Bill Raspberry is probably, man. Now look, not that I've been exposed to so many musicians.
Yeah.
But I do know that his ability to play, and then what he could get from choirs. There's a song. When I was a kid, we did a version of "God So Loved the World" taught by Thomas Watley.
Oh, God so loved.
We had our own. No, before that one.
Oh,
so Thomas had come in with his own arrangement of "God So Loved the World." It became kind of like our stable. DJ was at the program yesterday, so he called me afterwards. And DJ said, he said, yeah, man. He said, now there was 3 songs I expected to hear. I'm available to you, More Abundantly, and then the Love Medley. And we were joking. We said, because we don't go to a concert to hear the new stuff. We go to the concert to hear the hits. Okay? Let me go to an Earth, Wind, and Fire concert, and they don't do Reasons. I want my money back. So he was right about that piece. And then, this with groups, there's certain songs you just really like. Because the drudgery of an anniversary is the musician comes in with their new vision, right? They got, here's the 4 or 5 new songs that's going to be part of our rotation. Some of them you like, some of them you just hate, but that's the musician. And some are better than others. Like, I remember, I was so surprised. I love Joel Wade for a lot of different reasons. Great musician, great preacher. I love Joel Wade because Joel Wade is a wordsmith. I love anybody that's in the words, and that's what he does, right? And I had heard this song, And so I just came up and suggested it to him. Anytime I suggest a song to musicians, they stay in your lane, you know. And then a couple of weeks later, the choir singing the song. And I went like, oh man. So I appreciate it, but I always appreciated Joel. The late Delton Pottinger.
I don't know Delton.
Yeah, Delton. Reggie was the first musician. Now, brother Abdul Hamoud Robinson Royal. His is a fascinating story. Reggie grew up, and I'm Abdul. He grew up in Metropolitan. Grew up Baptist. As soon as he turned 18, he went to West Side. Now he's coaching. And there's nobody know more coaching than Reggie. And Reggie being one of the smartest people I've ever, we had so many intellectual conversations where you knew, and that was just, like, this is a bright dude. And and even now on Facebook, he goes in and he still does wisdom. And so Reggie started studying religion. Now, Reggie was also at Oral Roberts. He would have been a little bit after Carlton Pearson at Oral Roberts, but he's at Oral Roberts. So he studied religion, and he converted to Islam. And so I don't know if it was the San Francisco Examiner that did this article on how a Pentecostal kid would end up becoming a Muslim. Well, if you talk to a lot of descendants of enslaved Africans, they will tell you that many of them really did have a Christian upbringing. And they then embraced Islam, and so it was that. But him, man, I can go through the list. Jeffrey Reynolds. I don't know if you remember Jeffrey Reynolds.
Oh yeah, Jeffrey.
Was it like Deborah Fields?
Deborah Reynolds.
Reynolds,
yeah. She.
We called that the go-go era.
Yeah.
That dude didn't know only slow songs he knew was one his wife sang. He taught what I was telling the story about the time he taught the choir this song. It was one of those. This was, Pentecostal is go-go.
Yeah.
Apostolics is really, really go-go.
Yeah.
This dude had this song, and by time, and these folks were still relatively young. By the time they got finished, I'd never seen this before. You had this collective like,
yeah, it was a lot of work. Yeah.
And so Jeff, again, I mentioned Bill Raspberry. Chris Crane played for us for a minute.
Yeah.
Russell Yancey Jr.
Russell, yeah.
Now, it's funny because my mother always called Russell Jr. Terry. Now, that's his mama. And so the story with Russell was that he, his driver's license. So my mama, whenever she see him, she go, Terry, you get your license yet? And he's such a well-raised young man. He never corrected her and said, my name is Russell.
So wait, I remember back in the day, because I came over to a Metropolitan and played. Y'all used to have the organ sitting up to the left, like up in there.
It's a loft. It's
elevated. Yeah. Okay, so it's still sitting up there.
Oh man, they haven't changed. You know what it would cost to go and retrofit that?
Yeah, but it's in the wrong spot though.
Well, you got to remember that church was built 1967, 1968. There was different sensibilities.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing, how there's this question about what should churches, and I put that in parentheses because we call a lot of different things, should look like. I think that when you look at the architecture, certainly if you go back to Europe and look at those cathedrals, it represented people's vision of what a worship space should look like. I think that when we, obviously in the 20th century, we began to see some things. No church had built, no black church anyway, had built to the scale that Metropolitan had built, where you have a building that seats over 1,000 people. Nobody had did that. Usually you go buy a synagogue, you buy an old church, but we built that church basically from the ground up. And so people, and I remember when we marched into the church, it was the time of Dr. King's assassination. So Dr. Kelly, who was the pastor then, he wasn't there for most of it because he was in Atlanta for the funeral.
Oh.
But for 2 weeks. And when you go through the program, it was so ecumenical. So many different black churches came in to celebrate that on a different level. And then I think St. Mark's was right around that time, a little after that. Their churches, I think, is built like based on the anvil, which is one of the symbols of the AME church. And then Calvary, which built, was based on an African hut. So you began to see, so you began to see the sensibilities that people brought in, because religion is still cultural, right?
Was essential in Calvary being built?
That's a good question. Who?
I can't recall. I remember that there was a basketball player, an NBA player, that was instrumental in that.
Well, Calvary is the second oldest black church in the city. St. Mark's is the oldest.
His mom went there.
Church. Huh?
I think the mother of one of the NBA players went there, and he was essential. And
my grandmother was a member there. My grandmother was buried out of Calvary. My mother hated Calvary because she just thought it was dead, and then she went to another church, and I said, based on what I saw, that so dead must have been relative, because they were still singing. This came up yesterday. We have this discussion about how modernity pushes up against people, and people become real nostalgic. I don't want you to think about it, both of you brothers. I don't even want you to think about it. Just want you to give me the answer real quickly. The best decade for music.
90s.
Best decade for music. Debo.
80s.
Okay. Now, what does that have in common? That's when you came to age, right?
Yeah.
When you look at that, that's when I could sit up and say it was the 70s.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's when, I was going through. Now I'm listening to music. And I think it's the same thing where we look at.
I like how you did that. Yeah.
The example I gave yesterday was how, people talking about it was good back in the day. Now, I had to point out that the reason why we had the Great Migration was because things weren't that good. And it was simpler. It was less complicated. But as you gain more, life becomes more complicated. So I asked the question yesterday, because this is an older congregation. I asked, how many of y'all got cell phones? Every hand went up. I want you to think about that one. How many of y'all got cell phones? Isn't that a nod to modernity? Because the practicality of you doing this. What did we do before cell phones?
Whoa.
How did you find out that Aunt May passed?
They called you on your landline.
Right.
Either that or landline.
Have a phone in the crib.
And think about it though. We remembered numbers.
Yep, sure did.
I don't know nobody's number now, man. I don't even try to learn it.
Man, I still remember the old phone number 445-1810, and that was from 30-some years ago.
Now tell me what's my phone number.
I have no clue. I don't even know.
Oh, I got your number, Mr. Debo.
You know,
well, I do know by heart.
Mr. Debo.
See what I'm saying? There you go.
So but I think that with the new technology, it has caused us to shy away from actually instilling stuff in us because it's right in our hand. So we could put it in the phone and just not think about it.
Information.
Yeah, well, it's right there.
Could you imagine what barbershop arguments would have been
back
in the day if we had the phone?
I know I would have won a few of them.
Yeah. What the phone say, man?
Yeah.
What Google say?
Yeah.
So you be hearing that now. Google it.
Google it. Right. And I tell people, utilize it. Utilize AI. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to look it up. Well, if you don't know it, look it up.
Yeah.
And now you have access to it. And I was going they talk about limiting the screen time with young people. I got that. What was our screen time?
Man.
TV, 4 channels.
Yeah.
And went off at
right.
How that flag going across the screen and then it was static. Yeah. Until 6 o'clock in the morning.
I got this premium cable package. It seems like every movie on there I've seen.
Yeah. And they play it over and over and over.
So
yeah.
Anyway, 414-444-5250,
414-5250.
444-5250.
If you got the number,
5250.
5250.
If you got the number.
Yeah, just, and so we can have this generational discussion. But, time, keep on slipping into what?
The future.
The future. Ow.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be Ow.
You're inside Community Voice on WNOV 860 AM and 106.5 FM with your host, Keith Parris.
Keith Parris. With your host, Keith Parris. So let me just finish up. So again, let me thank everybody that was part of that yesterday. All the alumni came back, and it was quite an
Keith,
afternoon.
let me ask you: was it the service itself, or just glad to be there? You know,
no,
sometimes
it
can just be being in that old space.
What am I doing right now, Debo?
Oh yeah. You didn't. So it was none of that.
None of that. Didn't have one opportunity to cross my arms. No, nobody.
That is awesome.
Yeah, that is, and it's rare.
But then I do have a question for you too, to the same extent. Is there a reason that you didn't call Jermaine or either myself and say, "Hey man, where y'all at? Thought y'all was coming." Although I didn't commit to it, but I would have shown up.
Man,
I sure would have came. I was dressed and ready.
And you don't? Is that what you're insinuating?
No, I'm just saying that I try not to impose on people because I know they have lives, and it's a little presumptuous of me to. Yeah,
but when somebody tell you they coming,
yeah.
No, I mean,
and then you don't see them. You say, "Hey man, just making sure you hadn't forgot." You know.
So I went to CCAP to make sure he was okay.
You CCAP and he wasn't locked up, huh?
He didn't show up on CCAP, so he's all right. He walking around free. And for the folks, and I am, you guys, this is not false modesty. I am always appreciative of people who will come up to me and say that they listen to the program, and then everyone has, and I shouldn't say everyone, I know I try not to be universal, but many people will come up and go like, some of the people call it your program. And I'm going, well, birds of a feather.
So, you know what, Debo?
Yes.
I just caught on to what this cat said.
Who?
He said he had to check the CCAP and
right.
make sure I was good.
Right.
This cat, man.
Hey, Jay, no near silver alert. Not quite silver yet. We're looking for a critically missing young person.
Critically missing musician.
Hey, I swear.
Critically missing.
I was just sitting here and then it hit me late. Like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Did he just say to check CCAP?
Last scene at
Hey, look,
he left service.
Hey, laughing, but that's real talk.
That's real talk.
Oh, yeah, it can happen.
Come in here on Monday, where Keith? Well, let's see. Keith ain't with us today.
And he won't be with us for a while.
But we are selling T-shirts.
Free Keith.
There is a GoFundMe.
GoFundMe.
For Keith. I can't tell you where he is. But free him. But free Keith. Caller, welcome to the program. I tell Michelle that all the time. We always get ready to put some T-shirts for you.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Caller, welcome to the program.
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. How you doing?
Top of the morning.
Hey, good morning. I just want to give a shout out to Christ King Baptist Church Choir. I think we should at least get an honorable mention on the show this morning.
Were they at the program yesterday?
No, we were not at the program.
You all had your 40th church anniversary yesterday.
That is correct.
You had the esteem, one of the greatest preachers in America, Don Darius Butler, was your morning speaker.
That cat can preach too, man.
Oh man.
That cat can go.
But shout it out, man. 40 years.
40 years. And it was a wonderful celebration yesterday. And I've been a member of Christ the King Baptist Church Choir for 38 years, and we're still going strong. And then, we have our pastor-elect, Reverend Trayvon Sinclair, coming on board, and I'm sure he's got a brand new vision for the church, and we can't wait to see what he is.
Hey, so quick question, man. Is Binky still there?
Binky, yes, she is still there.
Yeah, I love Binky.
Oh, man, I just, that choir and that band.
Yeah, man, my guys play over there.
But it's reflective of the leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And there is not just no preacher, but no person I admire more on this planet than John Wesley McVicker Sr.
Yeah.
I was just telling someone, I was telling his nephew, who was our morning speaker yesterday for church anniversary, Pastor Steve McVicker. I said I was at the second service he did over here at Bell Phillips Y.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was, and I saw that, and I saw I moved to Leon Terrace, and then I saw the campus that they built out there on 60th Street.
That's right.
Man, and great preacher, intellect, voracious reader. I mean, that guy, man. And he did something that is probably very difficult for anyone. You start something, how difficult it is to walk away from it, and then entrust somebody to be able to, as Keith just said, not only to maintain it, but take it to the next level that it needs to go to. So, man, like I said, there's nobody I admire more, certainly in the preaching vocation, than John Wesley McVicker.
Yeah. Well, thank you all. Appreciate it.
A lot to be said there, Keith, because I mean, in so many instances that we've seen founders who just sit in there, and then they mess around and die in the seat. They don't have a succession plan.
Yep.
Nobody, set to go in. Maybe that they could sit back and groom them and actually watch them, grow and make sure that they, are not making the wrong decisions. It just kind of help them. You're going to run it, but I just want to be here to make sure that you.
It's hard. It's hard, man. And the best thing to do is just to separate yourself as much as you can.
Mm-hmm.
There are instances there where that pastor is still there. And look, here's real talk. People joined that church because of that pastor, right? That's one of the reasons why they join. And I kid my pastor buddy and others. I say, you know what? You start off as, that's my pastor. That's my pastor. I love my pastor, my pastor. Until you get mad, then you go, the pastor.
Right. I was the pastor.
The pastor. Right, or worse. Or worse. There's some expletives that go before pastor.
Right.
So and so you have to admire people who because we're in the human business. And being in the human business, that means you in the business. Right? I mean, human beings can do some incredibly wonderful things. And then human beings can do some incredibly awful things.
Yeah.
And part of why there's a need for religion in the first place is that we need to mitigate and we need to modify certain behaviors, because for some, you hear people talking about they lived in such a way, and we're prodigal, which means to be wasteful. But there is the that moment that prodigal guy had where he said, and the Bible says, and when he came to himself, and you all of us have to have that come to yourself moment when you check yourself because you reckon yourself, and you go like, oh, okay, maybe it's time to fall back. I'm sorry, Devo.
No. You said something a moment ago when you spoke to, people joining a church because of the pastor or what have you. So I know my neighbors, both of them are deceased now, but they both went to different churches.
Right.
And they never, is that common?
It's not common, but it happens more than, as a matter of fact, a guy I've known pretty much all my life, he is at Christ the King. His wife is at, I think she's still, I'm assuming, New Covenant. I mean, it helps that you and your wife can ride to church together on Sunday mornings. How about people who are totally two different religions? My former classmate was talking about how he was raised both Muslim and Catholic, and not Muslim and Baptist. And so I think you're able to do it. You need to find that space. I was very fortunate that my wife was also a Baptist.
And like the same piece of chicken you like.
And like the same piece of chicken. Then I'm having a conversation. Somebody kind of told on her yesterday. He said, oh, me and your wife, we haven't gone shoe shopping in a while. Like, oh, y'all was doing trips?
I didn't know nothing.
I know nothing about it. Caller, welcome to the program.
Hello?
Good morning.
Hey, this is Dorothy.
Hey, Dorothy. I ain't talked to you in a while. What's happening?
That's another.
Man, I've been in Missouri for a minute.
Oh, okay.
So I heard you talking about Christ the King. I said, "Whoa, you talking about my church?"
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I missed all that. Hey, Debo.
Hey, Miss Dorothy, how you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Good.
How is what's the young guy name sitting there? I ain't saying y'all old, but I don't know his name.
Man, he ain't young.
No, I don't know who you talking about in the studio.
She talking about Streetcar.
She talking about
it's another young man
talking about Carvey.
I don't know his name.
You talking about Jermaine?
I guess. Yeah. You
talking about Right Out?
Man, you naming so many people.
Wait, the kicker is they all him.
What are we talking about?
They all
Jermaine, Right Out,
Streetcar, Railroad.
Oh, wait a minute.
Confused.
The one just laughed. I heard him laugh just a while ago.
All three of them names.
You know what?
All three of them names.
I love that laugh.
Oh.
I do. I like to hear him laugh.
Oh boy, that laugh.
Yeah.
What you talking about here
that young man laugh. I had a friend laugh sound like that. I like that.
Oh, well, I appreciate you.
Okay, well, I'll get to meet you one day.
Yes, ma'am.
Man, you know I'm from old school. I've been keeping up with WNOV. It's a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. Well, I appreciate that.
Okay, but yeah, I get a kick out of the laugh. I love it.
So you
but
ready
how
for your
y'all
new
doing,
pastor, Miss Dorothy?
Huh?
You ready for the new pastor?
Yes, I like him.
Yeah.
But you know what? I also
he's also American Baptist College. So
shout
out to one of my alma maters, American Baptist College. Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And you know, Maryland and Pastor McVicker, they some sweet people.
Oh yeah. And
man,
look, and just knowing what I know about Pastor McVicker, he wouldn't have trusted it in someone that he knew.
Yeah.
Now, it falls on him. But you know, when people put trust into you, or they can trust you to, especially like you were saying, Jermaine, you know, or Debo, like your vision and how you're able to, you know, one of the things, you know, because like any vocation, there's always ambition, right?
Right.
In vocation, there's that's part of what makes you, I hate to put this, what makes you good at it, your ambition. And so people used to always use two analogies. Younger preachers used to use two analogies that were misapplied. The first one was Jonah, right? They make it sound like Jonah was running from his calling. Jonah was already established as a well-known, gifted prophet. What he was running from was a particular assignment.
Yeah.
Because he didn't like the people.
Yeah, the assignment. Yes,
right.
Sir.
And so that's Jonah.
Yes, sir.
When people talk about Joshua, someone had to point out, and I think it was it who's my guy? I think he still might be on the general board. He pointed something out. He said, you need to read the narrative. Joshua was older. As a matter of fact, Joshua was kind of resistant because Joshua was saying, dude, I'm getting old, right? Moses was already old. I always get George upset. That's the reason why that Moses didn't get in the promised land, because he died.
Hey, you know what? I heard you saying when people join church because of the pastor. When I first joined that church, Christ the King, I went to revival. Mm-hmm. Man, I went there and I just got so much out of it. Out of his sermon. And I had my grandson with me. I said, you sit right here. Grandma going to join church tonight. And I did it. That was like in 2009 or something. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I've been there ever since. And they are some sweet people. Pastor McVicker is a good pastor. His wife is the sweetest person you want to meet. And my God, the members are good. I felt at home when I first went there. I felt at home. So anyway, I got to get back in there. I've been taking care of my grandkids in Missouri.
Okay.
in trauma there. So now I'm back and I got to get back to church.
All right.
Yeah, get on back in that church.
Okay, I will.
And what I mean by that, it could be the preaching, it could be the ministerial offerings that people have, but it's still the pastor. You know, is that
right?
That is now the great danger for some folks is that then you build this code of personality, you know, around the pastor, and if he or she leaves, you know, so I'm not saying I'm just saying it's an important, it helps. It helps. We were talking about the importance of music. And if you want to think that you can have a church and you don't have music, oh, good luck with that. And even the Unitarians have music, you know, so I'm just saying that's important. It's a whole lot that goes into it. You pointed something else out too. You know, do you feel embraced in that environment? And I'll pick that up when we come because I want to, you know.
Okay, but another thing I want to say before you hang up, you know, when the preacher is preaching, I know I'm gonna get a laugh out of it. Look like he looking right at me. So he done hit me for something.
No, he not. No, he not.
Like...
He ain't looking at you, Dorothy. But the only dog,
that was guilt.
The only dog,
that hollers
the one that got hit.
Yeah, that was guilt.
Oh man.
Oh, okay.
I got that story because I remember one Sunday Reb Wowzer was up talking about, and people will find out the hypocrite that you are. And I can't believe that this Negro talking about me.
Yeah.
He wasn't even talking about me. But it still hit me.
It still hit you because you knew.
Hit me. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. So no, he wasn't looking at you, but he was talking about you.
But he was talking to you. He wasn't looking at you, but he was talking to you.
Yeah.
All right, Dorothy, great. Welcome home.
Right. Okay, yeah. I'm glad to hear the young guy laugh again.
We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
You're inside Community Voice on WNOV 860 AM and 106.5 FM with your host, Keith Parris.
Let me get the sleep out my eye.
Man, get
you
it
said
out.
we out the bed.
Hey, wake up.
Wake up, everybody. Tap your sleep.
With that one from, man.
Listen here,
We
man.
out the bed.
Because you have to set the precedence. Did I say that word right?
Yeah.
Okay. I figured I'd ask the true scholar instead of you, Debo. You see him turning
Is he
around.
coming in? Is he or
What
she
time
coming
they
in a
get
little bit later in the program?
But that you have to set the tone. Once you set the tone, then you can ride that wave. And once you ride that wave, then you can perfect riding the wave.
They say that preachers are great samplers. If you read Michael Eric Dyson's book on Dr. King, he said he was the ultimate sampler. We all sample. Right?
Yeah.
We all. And I heard such a great line yesterday in the morning message. Shout out Steve McVicker. He was having an issue with one of his parishioners. And as you know, business meeting, business, we talking money.
Yeah.
And so she had some real opposition to where he wanted to go, and finances what he wanted to do. And so, he asked someone to go back and to pull her financial statement, right? So he come out and she said, where's my statement? He said, you can't print what ain't there.
She ain't been doing
I
nothing.
took a note like,
yeah,
if ain't nothing in there,
Yeah.
you can't print nothing out. Oh,
Yeah.
that was some deep theology there. Oh, I love that. You're about to talk about receipts.
Yeah.
Like there's some evidence of what it is that you do.
Yeah.
But yeah, he said you can't print out what ain't there. Yeah,
Yeah.
so you only get a piece of paper because ain't nothing on the paper.
I mean, that's almost like going to a bank that you ain't never put nothing in and try to get money out. Like, how? There's nothing there for you to get.
People, I keep telling, man, we're in the human business, man. Human beings do I just look at my life and I go like, man, you actually did that?
Man, I look back at some of the stuff I've done.
Yeah. Caller, welcome to the program.
Let me come read that down. Hold on. I got shoot. Now my phone's ringing. I'll call y'all back. What was I want to say?
shoot.
Turn down your radio. Wow, she get another call.
Oh, boy.
Look at God.
Wait, so not to change the subject, but I just saw on TV. Is this cat really pitching a show to have immigrants fight for citizenship on a reality show?
Let's keep it moving, man.
Is that really what that just said?
It was one of those proposals.
Unbelievable. So after you kick him out, okay, yeah.
It's been 4 months, man.
Yeah, and I swear it seemed like it's been 2 years, man.
It has been 4 months. Jermaine, they just did. We just saw that former President Joe Biden has been diagnosed with prostate cancer, and so really praying for him. Donald Trump said something really nice, but one of his sons didn't.
See. It's all fun and games
until
it happened to you. It's all fun and games.
Right. Caller, welcome to the program.
This is me.
Hi.
This is Annette. I haven't talked to you in so long.
Hey, Annette, so we get Dorothy and Annette to say,
whoa.
Oh, but this is the original Annette.
Yeah.
I was going to tell you something. Okay. My sister-in-law, she thinks it's funny about she started laughing about last names. And I said, okay, why are you, because you got different last names. All right, so like brother Drinkwater. She said, Drinkwater? Come on, there's nobody named Drinkwater. I said, yes, it is. Our musician at my church name is Drinkwater. And then you got Rideout, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I said, then your pastor's name is Had Not.
Hadnot.
Yep, Hadnot. Yeah.
Pastor Hadnot.
Yeah.
She said, well, I need to be quiet. I said, mm-hmm. I said, these names are just, they're names from, yes, from the past. They're passed down. They passed down to the descendants of the name. My father told me, because my old last name was Patterson. I said, well, Dad, how did you get Patterson? That's an Irish name, by the way. It's Patter's son, John's son. And he kind of just broke it down for me for a little history because I was so confused. I didn't know what to do. And he said, that's the slave name. That's the way they broke down your original African name, and they made it into a slave name.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so, a lot of times we don't teach our kids, how did I get that name, Mama, Daddy? And
do you think that we should put, well, certainly understanding our last names, my grandmother, her government name before she got married was Overall.
Overall?
Yeah, my great grandfather was Overall. And then my other grandfather, his name's Smith. So yeah, you're right in terms of those names. Again, we were talking about the Babylonian captivity and what they did, and part of what they did was they changed the names of the Hebrew people that they brought to Babylon, right?
Right.
So when you look at the 3 Hebrew boys, those names are Babylonian names. Daniel's kind of, but that wasn't their government names. That wasn't the names they were given. When we got here, the thing that they stripped obviously was our language, and then our names, because your name should, if it doesn't, should have significance, right?
Absolutely.
In every culture, that name has significance, either the profession, the vocation you're in, what happened when you were born. I met this woman. She had a Coxa name from South Africa. And she explained it meant stormbringer because she said that when she was born, there was a bad storm, right? So our names have so much significance, or should have significance. But then I heard someone say, and this is interesting you said that, because they said that they named their kid like real basic names like John and Mary.
Yeah.
And then they will create the identity around their name based on how they live their lives. Right? Because more of a blank than something like, I don't know, Jermaine. I think Jermaine would be one of those names. Or when we name people after things.
Yes.
And I shouldn't say after things, because sometimes some of those things like Mercedes is a name.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a real name, but it's also a car.
Yeah. Well, I was going to tell you, my husband's mother, she named all her grandchildren, and I'll give you their names. Okay, I'll start with the girls. It's only 2 of them. Okay, Nalo is a girl. Okay. Ayana Nika. These are African names. Ayana Nika.
Okay.
Now I'm gonna go to the boys. Blow K. Tekumba. Kahari. Kita. And then there, one more is, I think his name is A2. Okay. So those are the African names, and they all have a meaning behind them. But her children were Nate, and just the plain names. And mine is a plain name. I was named after a Mickey Mouse, Annette.
You know what's really funny? I was listening to the names that you just gave, and if they were coming up during my time, I guess they're gonna get jumped on, right?
I guess so. Listen, you just better be quiet.
Some of those names, and then when we talked about this, you could almost tell what era a person's born in sometimes by their name.
Me and you the same age now. Come on.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that my mother, when I asked her why did you name me Keith, she said that, well, I wasn't gonna name you James because my grandfather was James, my brother was James. And then here's why it didn't happen. And your daddy was James.
Well.
So she said, and this is her rationale, so there was enough Jameses in the family.
Thank you.
And so then she said she went through the baby book. She saw the name Keith. and she suggested Keith.
Yes.
And then my mother was so funny because my mother misspelled my name for years. You know, what's the rule? I before E except after C. But in proper names, that rule doesn't apply.
Oh,
so my mother was always spelling my name Kieth. And that you know, just
and that's how you spell your name, right?
No, Keith.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Annette is so point, and you know the Mickey Mouse team. My mother watched so many Frankie Avalon movies.
Okay.
And my father said, "What's you gonna name her after Mickey
Oh, she
Mouse?"
named you after Annette Fonticelli.
Yeah, she
Fonticello.
did.
Yeah. Okay.
Now you know.
Yeah. I mean, you know, somebody in Jermaine's family, even though they were saved, like the Jackson 5. Wouldn't you name Jermaine?
You know what? And that was my favorite dude. I was so in love with Jermaine. There was a song that me and my sister made. You better watch Jermaine when you got him in your hand. You got him in your hand. You better watch Jermaine.
That's right. That's right.
That's Jermaine, man.
You better watch Jermaine. That's right.
Me some Jermaine.
And then we went to the what do they call the 5%ers, where we had that period where, you know, brothers get names like Jamil, Jamal, Malik.
Look, we just having us too much fun on this song. Okay.
And then my mama, their generation, I had an uncle named after a president/city, Cleveland. I have another uncle. We still haven't figured out his name because his name was Mundavis. So we don't know if he was born on a Monday, and that's why they called him Mundavis. Mondavis. My mother, I never knew the root, the etymology of my mother's name, and I found out. My grandmother was raised by her aunt, my Aunt Willie, and her husband, Uncle Cliff.
Okay.
They named my mother Cliffy.
Okay.
So it was the combination of that and named after Uncle Cliff.
Oh, wow.
And then the two younger sibs, my Aunt Barbara and my Uncle James. So, but yeah, when you get at the top, Cliffy, Cleveland, Mundavis. And there's a whole lot of us named after cities.
Cities.
Yeah.
And this and that. Well, when you come from Denver, I tell you.
In the late 70s, early 80s, when we started just creating names, you know, and you be going like, here's the one that I love black people. I'm sorry. Let me correct that. I love all African people all over the world.
Me too.
Montreal is pronounced
Montreal.
Did you hear what she just said? We'll say it again.
Montreal.
Montreal, isn't it?
Montreal.
Yep. But everybody with that spelling in the black community is Montreal.
Montreal.
Yep.
And you know, Pam Grier, she lives in Colorado. You do know that. You know she's from Colorado.
Who?
Pam Grier.
Yes.
She went to school with my brothers.
Yes.
So, you know, Pam, and I'm telling you, I can go on and on with these names.
But you know what the great thing about Pam Grier, I'm glad she's getting her flowers.
I love her.
She's getting her flowers. You know, that people, they really, when you look at folks who study cinema, would say that she had, as a woman, she had so much impact, you know, on cinema, especially black cinema.
Yep.
Where this alpha woman, very smart, except during the Richard Pryor period of her life. But it was funny because Richard Pryor ended up, I don't know if he ended up marrying this woman, Pam, but his grandmama always wanted him to marry Pam Grier. He ended up marrying a white woman, I think. Richard Pryor was married about 5 times, married one woman twice.
You know what she's doing now, Keith? In Colorado, you know, we have a lot of, she's out in the mountain area. She's got a ranch out there, and she allows you know, youth that have problems or whatever. They ride horses and they go to their ranch. It would be wonderful if we had something like that here, where they just go out and they get to help take care of the horses. They get to go out on trips, everything. They ride horses and everything. So she has her own ranch out there.
And Rosie Grier, were they first cousins? She's related to Rosie Grier, the football player.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know who else is from Colorado?
Oh, Colorado. Y'all got to go. Please. I mean, and don't forget to go to the Red Rocks Amphitheater.
Oh yeah, I want to do that.
Oh my God!
Even though I think John Test kind of killed it for me, I love to do Red Rock. There's the other place I'd like to go. I would only go to Vegas for this, to go to the Sphere.
Oh my God!
Go to the Sphere. I want to.
It's only 30 minutes out of Denver.
Yep,
That's it.
Oh, they've had some great shows at Red Rock.
Yeah, Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And speaking of Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Oh Lord, here we go.
Actually, there's 2 members of the band. One is currently not performing with them. That's from Colorado. Actually, 3.
Yep.
3.
I told you Denver got it going on.
Yeah. Philip Bailey. Larry Dunn.
Yep.
And the late Andrew Wolford.
We still got a Milwaukee connection in that band, don't we?
Oh, we might. We just might.
Jermaine, is John Johnson still playing with Earth, Wind, and Fire?
He's a horn player?
No, guitar.
He was a guitar player.
He could be. You know, they do have a substitute.
I think so.
They have a substitute bass player right now because Verdine White had surgery. Yeah. So
and we gonna have right out. He gonna introduce everybody because he gonna be on the front stage. I'm gonna say this is Right Out.
That's
He's
right.
from Milwaukee, and that's my man on stage.
That's
Don't
right.
y'all say nothing bad about that, but that's my brother up there, y'all.
That's right. And I'm gonna come out with glitter on. I'm gonna be spinning around on stage, screaming, and then Debo gonna come and put a coat around me.
Come on,
I'm gonna be stage right with my arms folded.
Keith, I'll be right next to you.
Let me get out the show.
I looked over there and I saw Keith and his arms are folded.
This can't be good. This can't be good.
So what you say, Debo? This can't be good.
No pressure, right? No pressure. No pressure. No, I was, and like I said, that's crazy because I don't know, and that's real because people who study body language will tell you that when people do this, cross their arms like this, they're closed. And so you're trying to get them here, where then they're open. So, it symbolically looks like I'm more open to it. But yeah, man, you sit there with your arms crossed. And I pulled up their names of the 2 old guys in the Muppets.
Oh yeah,
just sit up there, just heckling everybody that comes out.
What were their names?
I will pull it up.
Yeah, because I'll never forget that gig last year. We was playing, and I'm on stage. I'm playing. I look to my left. It's the band. We looking at each other. I look over the crowd, and to my right, Keith sitting right in the front
in the VIP tent.
Hey, with his arms folded. I said, "Oh."
The old men you're referring to are the Muppets characters, Statler and Waldorf.
Wow,
Statler and Waldorf. Now that I don't know if there is Rhonda saw a squirrel. And I had to explain to her. She said, "Look at Chip." I'm going, Rhonda. Chip and Dale. They were what's the little chipmunks. Yeah, Chip. 2 of the more mannerable people that you're ever going to meet. Chip and Dale. No, you. No. You first. No. You first. Chip and Dale. The Statler and Waldorf. There's certain things me and Michelle will go to, and we're like the Statler and Waldorf there. Now she's never going to admit that she hates right along with me. But man, I'd be sitting there hating like, and I come by it naturally. I was born a hater, and so every chance you get to go out, maybe we'll do this on a Friday because we haven't done Hater Nation in a while. We'll go in and kind of get to the root of where haters come from. But man,
like tell him what you hate, man. Tell him what you hate.
I don't know. Is it me or is hating pretty widespread?
Oh, it's widespread.
It's
it's really widespread.
It's universal.
Yeah,
because I had this. I'll never forget it, man. I walked into Jerusalem Baptist Church on 24th and Capitol. Yeah, I got to.
They don't give real names.
Yeah, I got to give real names because it's a real story.
Where's Jerusalem located?
Well,
go, man.
I don't know where Jerusalem is.
He's just helping you dig that.
Yeah, I know it.
Is that
over there? So you were at a Baptist church.
So I was over there on North Avenue.
You're at a Baptist church.
And I walked in, and I was walking to the organ. And I walked up to the organ and played. And after service, this guy was standing in the hallway. So I was standing and talking to people. And as I was no, I was just talking hi, bye, whatever. And as I was getting ready to walk out, he walked up to me and he said, "Right up, can I talk to you?" Okay, cool. He said, "Man, I'm gonna be honest with you. When I first saw you walk in, I felt some kind of way." And I was like, "Well, why?" And he said, "Well, that when you walked in, your back was all straight, your shoulders was broad, and you was walking in here like you was all that. But when after service, I saw you conversating and talking to people, I said, he's a humble guy. And I like this dude." And I looked at him. No, seriously, I had looked at him and said, "Man, you judged me off of walking in like you didn't even open your mouth."
You've never done that?
No, never. I've never judged a man or a person walking in with.
I'm not saying
confidently walking in, was like, "Oh, he think he all that," or she think they all that. No, that's stupid. That's the stupidest thing ever. Now, if I had a conversation with you,
let me ask this question.
And you was acting that way, then I'm like, "Oh man, this dude ain't all that."
Mr. Horseshit.
Course.
Mr. Cotter. Ooh, Mr. Cotter. Mr. Cotter. Let me ask you a question.
Uh-huh.
Are you all that?
And a bag of chips and more.
Okay, so why are you tripping?
Because I am. I'm all that, but I don't. So I don't require y'all to think of me like that.
You don't think we picking up on that vibe?
But I don't think but I don't require.
You don't require.
That's just how I carry myself because I know who I am. Let me
say this.
And I know whose I am. So since I know whose I am,
oh man,
I know who I am.
I don't have any offering.
Come on, Doc, I'm gonna preach this good word, man. I walk in and I'm confident.
I get what he's saying to an extent. Because there are folks that say I look mean, like I'm mad all the time.
Yeah.
But I'm not that guy. If you come over and I'm personable, I'm approachable. Right. No, you throwing those fines. I know when you throwing those fines over there.
You see Jermaine throw them fines. He's pretty good at it too.
Is he good at it?
Oh yeah, he's good at it. He probably threw some at the big hat show away.
Doc, I will fire Cat on the spot. Man. No, I will fire you doing the performance.
Devo, I'm like, okay.
Man, listen, I fired a Cat like 2 minutes before the show. This is no lie. We getting ready to play at the Rave. It's a huge show. It's a reggae show. Huge show. I tell these cats, you got to be here for a sound check. No excuse. Okay, yeah, we there. Man, we get there for sound check. We setting up, and I'm looking. I'm like, I'm missing a piece. Okay. This cat came in at the last minute. Oh, man, I had a bunch of stuff going on. Brother, listen, take your stuff back outside to the car. I love you.
Well, let me ask you a question. Do reggae concerts start on time?
No, but I require.
Is there a reason why they don't start on time?
Yeah, they be high.
They at the car.
They be no. It ain't a car, Doc. It's a whole van back there, a Scooby-Doo van. It's a whole
time. Brother, time is relative.
Yeah, hey man.
To who though? It's relative to who?
Yeah, to them.
Yes, sir.
Good morning.
E equals MC squared. The law of relativity. Listening to Mr. Ride Out. Assalamu alaikum to you, brother. Thank you for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
And I agree 100%. Because and this is how I rationalize it or reason it out. When you have been reared, either in your household or you have been in the midst of people who have imparted knowledge and wisdom unto you, they have poured from themselves into you, and they have given you information as to what to look for and how to discern and to distinguish if something is good or bad with regard to interaction with other human beings. When you walk in a room and your back is straight, and you come into the atmosphere of people who have not benefited from that same environment, they immediately begin to psychologically attack you because they suffer from an inferiority complex. So with your confidence, it subdues them. And because our people suffer from the plantation mentality of Willie Lynch, it's very, very easy for us to see a confident black person. And we think that it's peacocking.
Yeah.
And it's not.
That's right.
This person has been properly prepared to not perform poorly. And because of the Willie Lynch syndrome, when we see other people like us act like that, we go into our reservoir or reserve of hateful connotations and denotations concerning that person. And I'm speaking personally.
Do you think
because I've been accused
that some people will overcompensate, though? That it does
course.
border on arrogance?
Well, that is to be determined.
Yeah.
And see, when you see a confident person and you don't even know this person, and because this person has good posture, they speak a particular type of way, or their mannerisms are not familiar to you, it subdues you. It puts you off because you lack preparation. Yeah. And then you begin to project your inferiority complex onto this person and the people who might be drawn to this person, because in you are insufficient. You lack confidence.
But you know what? But that person's also dealing with their inadequacies. And I can tell you, as a public person, the public person sometimes is different. And I'm not talking about values
than the private person.
Than the private person in terms
absolutely
of it's such a contradiction. I have.
But here, can I say this, Mr. Parris? When a person is arrogant, they're going to be dismissive to everyone and everything that comes before them. Yeah, right, yeah. When a person is humble, you approach this humble person and they will immediately acknowledge you. Yeah. And just because you are viewing them from far off, they may look a certain way to you. They may look even discouraging parts from your viewpoint. You might be like, oh my God, I don't think I can approach this person because I think this person might be this, that, and the third. Those are called preconceived notions.
Right. And I think, but that's what we do as human beings. I mean, it is
not all of us.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. We can only go on what we see. How we react to what we see is then it comes down to the individual. But we go on what we see. If we're trying to say, like first impressions shouldn't be lasting.
That's the only impression.
Yeah, but then what I'm saying is that in terms of, I was kidding Michelle because I was saying you don't know me, and in some ways she does know me.
Right.
But what all of us, there's some way
in your entirety, she does not know you,
and I don't know her. What I would say that
you're not married to her.
Well, whether I'm married or I'm just saying I don't. There's so many things. Me and Keon used to argue about this all the time. I said, Keon, we have 3 lives. We have our public lives, we have our private lives, and then we have our secret lives, right? And
your bathroom life.
Right. So what I'm saying is that, and you would be foolish to be so open about your secret life, because guess what? People are not as, and I was going to talk about that as we talked about the church. People are not that inviting. People are not that sensitive. People will trample.
People are guarded.
And
they have to be guarded.
Right. You should, because I'm just saying you can't trust yourself with anybody, because there will be people out there and they're not trying to hurt you, but that idea. And I think the other thing is that we've always dealt with in human social structuring this idea that there are some people at this level, some people at that level. I mean, it's part of it.
In this society that promotes that concept or those ideas.
Most societies have most societies. If you go and you look, will have Eastern society, African society. Everyone has
the predominant mentality or the prevailing mentality. Who thinks that everybody wants to be like them? America.
But what I'm telling you, Chris, that over and beyond America.
My name is Christopher.
We had that whole discussion last week. You weren't even a part of it.
I heard that.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, Christopher, is that if you go through and do any anthropology, you will find that every society has an elite, and then you work your way back. Right.
Well, let me counter to that with this. In the last 6,000 years, this is what your knowledge of that is based upon.
Well, what else would it be based on, Christopher?
Well, you provided the information. I'm just giving you the extent of it.
Okay. All right, man. Well, appreciate you. All right, man.
We'll take the last call.
Oh, you want to do the break or do? Let's do the call because we'll miss it. Call welcome to the program.
Yes, hi. This is Kathy.
Hey, Kathy. And first of all, sorry for your loss, dear. Hello? Hello? Okay. Lost her. Okay. Yeah, lost her. All right. You listen to Community Voice. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Listen, everybody. Listen up.
WNOV 860 AM and 106.5 FM with your host, Keith Parris.
Welcome back. Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Good morning, Keith. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Not too bad.
Good.
I just want people, to pray for our family. We had my older sister passed away. We had her services on last Tuesday, the 13th. Her cancer had came back. Yeah. So if we can do a prayer for us, I appreciate it. The other thing is that Michelle mentioned something about the event that was on Friday. And I thought she said Lincoln High School, and they may repeat it again this week sometime.
No, it's Roosevelt.
Oh, Roosevelt. Okay, if I called the school, okay, Roosevelt.
Roosevelt Middle School for the Arts.
Oh, right on the corner of Walnut down here, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and what is that? Is it going to be Thursday or Friday?
She said they're looking at possibly doing Thursday again, because I guess it's done so well.
Okay. I'm gonna call them just to see. I wish I'd known about all that church stuff going on. We had some people still in town. They always want to go to church when they come to town.
I got a chance to see Kathy Wanzo yesterday, and so that's always good. Love the Wanzo family. So
right, she stopped by the funeral services too. Yeah. She went to
and I'm
high school with my sister.
Sorry for your loss too.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah. Right. Okay, then. Yeah. Next time you have some good events like that, let us know. I sure would participate.
Yep. All right.
Yeah. Hey, and also, man, I got the opportunity to actually meet her at the event, man.
Who, Kathy?
Yeah, I met Kathy at the event.
Yeah, Kathy is
excellent young lady, man.
She's a very intelligent young lady too. The whole family is.
Yeah. I know you miss Keon, don't you?
Oh, that's my buddy. Y'all better not talk about my Keon. I'm gonna still give him a ride. I'm gonna think about him. I'm gonna ride on that Lake Express ferry. I'm gonna think about him because I wanted him to go on that. He had talked about taking some nephew on there.
Oh, is that right?
But y'all better not be talking about Keon while I'm listening on the radio on that.
All right. Well, we'll wait till you're not listening, then we're gonna talk about it.
Okay, bless y'all. Take care.
Today, had he lived, Malcolm X would have been 100 years old today. Today is Malcolm X's birthday, and there's a book out there by Professor Manny Marable called The Reinvention of Malcolm X, one of the real definitive biographies of Malcolm X. And I think I have a copy of it, but if I don't, I'm going to get a copy of it. Again, I love all African people all over the world. So when I was living out in Maryland, we went down to D.C. Anacostia Park for Malcolm X's birthday celebration. And I think who was going to perform? EU.
Oh.
Never got a chance to see EU. I guess you know what happened.
Fight.
There wasn't no fight. We shut it down. Which I found out that we thought that's a Milwaukee thing.
Oh no, that's
everywhere.
That's
everywhere.
You right.
Everywhere on Malcolm X's birthday.
Man, you should have saw him in Texas for Juneteenth a couple years ago.
Yeah,
they shut it down.
Yeah, I mean, man. All right, caller, welcome to the program.
Hello, this is George. I just had to call back when I heard you mention Keon. I'm in line. Y'all better not be saying I'm back here, Keon.
They gonna call and jump us.
Nobody said nothing about the GTO.
Okay, keep it like that.
The talented one. Nobody talked about him.
Ooh, Bubbles.
Oh my God. Okay, I got a chance to hear that laugh again.
All right.
Guys.
The gift of the talented one. Don't ever mess with Keon and his intellect. Don't, boy, you do a whole lot of things, but don't ever say he ain't smart.
Hey, but Keon actually had a talent, man, that a lot of people didn't get a chance to experience from him. But I sat in the car and heard this man sing to me.
Yeah.
And he didn't sing to me, he sung for me, I should say that. So let me clear that up. Because nowadays, boy.
You gonna wait till he die?
Yeah.
You gonna come out talk about your relationship?
Right. Yeah. Let me clear that up right now. But this cat had a voice on him. This guy had a voice on him, man. You sound like Teddy Pendergrass, man.
What did his voice do for you?
He sound like Teddy P, man.
So what did
he didn't do nothing for
you?
me, brother. Hey, hold on. Let's back this up. Debo, don't you? Don't,
wait, hold on.
You shut your mouth when you talking to me.
I ain't gonna lie, man. I know I'm secure in my manhood. But Teddy,
dude, Teddy can go.
Teddy,
Teddy is the only man that can yell at me. Man. Turn him off.
Teddy, shoot, man. No, man. I saw this Teddy concert, and I was going like, well, I can see why they throwing their panties up there. Teddy wasn't no joke, man. You know, there are some people who, it's after 10. There's some people who, you know, they just exude like sexuality.
Yeah.
You know, and they got that charisma. You can't, don't hate on it.
Yeah.
You know,
embrace it,
man. But no, Teddy,
now if you throw your drawers up there, it's a problem.
I thought I was when I heard Luther call him up to the program. But when he went,
put him up like starters.
Call him up to the program.
Good day, Brother Keith.
Good day, man.
This is Rick calling you long distance from Germany.
Hey, Rick.
I just want to say for your audience, I went to a school named after Malcolm X, an elementary school, and because of CIA involvement in that elementary school, I read everything I could about Malcolm X. Not only Manning Marable's biography, but what's the one?
Alex Haley?
Peter Goldman.
Okay.
Peter Goldman's autobiography and a few others. But I would recommend to your audience, read about Malcolm's life, read the autobiography, his biographers, read the biographers, and decide what you're living for as a black person there in America. I'm done, man.
I appreciate you. We were kind of alluding to this. Our leaders are human beings, which means that there are a lot of layers, complexities, contradictions, right? And I think that, and then what I was thinking about this morning as I thought about his birthday was how Malcolm has become more acceptable now than when he was living. And you know, and there was a lot. Probably Spike Lee did a lot. Spike Lee and Denzel Washington.
Are you speaking to his messaging? Or
no, just to him, his period. I mean, and just him as a person. There were a lot of contradictions in his life, but there were a lot of contradictions in Dr. King's life.
Yes.
You know, now the difference is they're public people, and so you have your public persona. And again, that gets back to those 3 lives. Is when your secret life gets out, right? That then it becomes. But all of us probably have some things that we would prefer the public never find out about. I know I do. Caller, welcome to the program.
Yes, sir. Mr. Parris, apologize for calling back. And here's why. 2 things. With regard to our names. In the Nation of Islam, when you come into the Nation of Islam, you get an X. My name was Christopher X. I graduated. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan gave us Muhammad. And I've been wearing Muhammad for some time now. Have I been living up to Muhammad? I would say no. Muhammad means worthy of praise. And in the Nation of Islam, we do not call each other by the shortening or a name outside of your first name that we are knowledgeable of until there is a point, or maybe you make up your mind and decide to change your name or what not. And then with regard to our beloved established brother who has been a firmament throughout the history for us, Malcolm X, Malik, Shabazz. I can't remember the rest.
El Shabazz. Yeah.
El Shabazz. But what must be brought to bear with regard to the autobiography written by Alex Haley. Alex Haley was a CI, a confidential informant for the FBI. And until he came across information about himself that's when he began to take Malcolm X seriously about what Malcolm X went over to commit Hajj in Mecca. And let me think. I think that's probably it. But again, with our brother Malcolm X, Malik El Shabazz. And this is what I wanted to say too about something that I spoke about some time ago. If you make Hajj, and you said, and I said that the Holy Quran says, "How should you know the devil?" And it will be by the color of his eyes, which are blue. You said that there are blue-eyed, yes. And Malcolm X met a blue-eyed Caucasian, but Malcolm X was also being trailed and surveilled by the COINTELPRO. What's his name, Mr. J. Edgar Hoover, that guy. They were all up in the business of everyone in every organization, whether it was on the streets or whether it was supposedly or so-called legitimate. So ultimately, Malcolm X has been a martyr. He's been martyred, and he is a part of our history, and we honor him. But my question to anyone who admires and extols Malcolm X without giving any mention to his teacher, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, I wonder why that is never, because when you bear witness, and as Ms. Bryant says, if you're going to tell the story, tell the whole story. So in order to point to the student, you should reference the source of which and how that student
Well, let me ask you a question. How did Malcolm get into the Nation of Islam? Who exposed him?
Well, my understanding is that he was exposed while he was in jail.
Nope.
Incarcerated.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Where was it?
It was he had an older brother and sister. I know his one brother, Wilbert, who was a minister, and his sister, when he moved to Boston, he was exposed to the Nation of Islam by family. I know in the movie they said it was a jail conversion, but
thank you for correcting me. And
no, because I thought the same thing. And it was like when you go through and you read, but then you got to know. No, well, it's also creative licensing. That one of the great iconic
contributing to a lie and give the distortion.
It doesn't throw off the whole thing. I mean, it's not one of those cardinal lies.
I understand, but listen to this. With that, because they stated that in the movie, and it gives reference to how people condescend to those brothers who end up in lockup, and they do become some expression they might incline to, whether it's Islam or Christianity. That was not my experience. And I praise be to Allah, alhamdulillah. I didn't want that association. So when I did go to jail, I was already ready. You understand? Thank you for taking my call again, sir. Yes, sir.
I mean, I think, and that's what I'm saying, that our journey is not as black and white. Now, if you're trying to do a movie, you need to do it in such a way for 2.5 hours. I think Malcolm X ran close to 3, where you're going in. So obviously there were things there that was used as part of a device for the movie. That's why Christopher is saying, and Brother Rick is saying, actually go through and do some reading. Get their definitive biographies out there on Malcolm X, where now you can make, and we have the ability to look back now. Wow, he was assassinated in 65, 64. So, we're talking over 50 years ago. But I appreciate what Christopher's saying. He is a martyr. Dr. King was a martyr. Medgar Evers was a martyr. That there were people who stood for this idea of justice for descendants of enslaved Africans who cost their lives. The fear of the Black Messiah was real. This is
have to help me out. Medgar Evers was killed for allegedly whistling at a white woman or something like that.
Medgar Evers was president of the NAACP.
Who was that whistled at the white woman?
Emmett Till.
Emmett Till. That's who I'm thinking about. There we go.
Emmett Till. And there's a decision I have to make. I know Reverend Al Sharpton is normally on August 28th, there's usually a protest and rally in Washington, D.C. This year is going to be in New York City on Wall Street. So I'm trying to make up my mind. Do I want to go and be a part of that? So again, if Malcolm X would have lived, he would have been 100 years old today. God sends his prophets, and we should always be mindful that there are prophets. And we're not talking about these soothsayers, send me $5. I'm talking about people who make a cry for justice. And Malcolm X was certainly a modern prophet, as was Dr. King, and others who have gone out to put themselves out there on the line because they're seeking justice, and seeking justice in particular for descendants of enslaved Africans and Africans all over the world, because there are others, Patrice Lumumba, who lost his life in the Congo. So, all right, man. Debo, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Jermaine, thank you.
Indeed, sir.
Callers, we really thank you. The good Lord willing, the creek don't rise. We hope to talk to everybody tomorrow. And as always, go from this place in peace.